it's 7 o'clock.
We'll
start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we're going to start with the public hearing regarding the 2020 fire protection agreement with the Enterprise Fire Company number 1. May I have a motion to open up the public hearing at 7:01?
I'll move it.
I'll second it.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Motion carried. Meeting's now open. Do we have anybody, any citizens that would like to make any comments? You should have, the agreement was in the back. This is the agreement that we sign every year with this fire company. Anybody have any comments or questions regarding that agreement?
The town clerk usually reads the public notice into the minutes.
Thank you.
Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay. The proof of publication was printed in the Post-Standard on January 23rd, 2020. Please take notice that the public hearing will be held before the Lysander Town Board at 7 p.m. on February 6, 2020 at Lysander Town Hall, 8220 Loop Road, Baldwinsville, New York, for the purpose of hearing all persons for or against the proposed one-year contract with Enterprise Fire Company number 1 for fire protection services within the West Phoenix Fire Protection District for 2020. By order of the Town Board, January 16, 2020, Dina Falco and Lysander Town Clerk.
Okay. All right. Hearing no comments or questions, may I have a motion to close the meeting or the public hearing at 7:02?
I'll move that. I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Okay, motion carried. All right, we'll move on to the adoption of the minutes. Minutes have been distributed to the board members. Are there any corrections that need to be made? If there are no corrections, may I have a motion to approve the minutes as distributed?
I'll move it.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Motion carried. All right, so we're going to move on to citizens' comments.
Cindy Clark, 27 West Genesee Street. This is for agenda items, correct? And the SPCA agreement is on the agenda. This is something that's okay to talk about?
Yeah.
All right, just
And
one.
if you have town business, if it's specific town business.
Well, this is about the SPCA
Yeah.
agreement,
Sure.
which is fine, it's wonderful. But just, I don't know who you talked to about it, but just to advise the people, I've had call them on several occasions, and you never get an answer. You never get any satisfaction on anything when you call for the cruelty or questions about things like that. It's always voicemail or whatever. They don't get back to you. And I just want to put that out there that, maybe you can talk to the powers that be, but just ask them to be a little bit more responsive and respectful for when people are calling in about a cruelty situation or anything like that.
I'll follow up on that, and I'll see if there's a better number. What number are you calling? Is it like the published number that
Yeah.
they have? We have to sign the agreement, so when, we give them the agreement, I'll ask them, is there a better number for
Okay.
residents to call where people could get an answer? And certainly if you or anybody else has a problem getting a hold of it, give me a call, and then I'll follow up on it and see what the problem is, why. They should be more responsive than that. We have a contract with them, or we will.
Yeah.
So-
Okay, very good, thanks.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? No? Okay. Move on to supervisor's comments. I met with Mark Nicotra from the Onondaga County. He's the communications director for our county executive, and I also met with the mayor of Baldwinsville and the supervisor of Van Buren. And we talked about a number of things, but also what we're doing is memorializing our intermunicipal agreements that I talked about the last meeting. Mr. Rivazigno developed and he sent the agreements to both the village and the town of Van Buren so that we make sure that everybody's interests are protected in that, and so we should be getting back those soon. Regarding last year, the previous board talked about monies that they found that weren't recovered from contractors for the in lieu of parks funds, and I was told that from the planning, Karen Rice told me that almost all of the monies have been recovered to date. The only monies that we aren't going to be able to recover is, there was one contractor, and I don't have the contractor's name, that actually went out of business. But other than that, the rest of the monies, and it was a majority of it, have been recovered. I attended the Lysander Fire Department and their installation banquet. I was a guest there, and I had the privilege of swearing in their officers, their newly elected officers. I had a conversation with Assembly Minority Leader Will Barkley. He obtained a $50,000 grant for us that we're going to be able to use for the property that we're trying to acquire on Smoky Hollow Road. We're in the process of working out the details on that. I towed the new bus garage, toured the new bus garage, and with representatives from the school, and we were talking about maybe we already have an agreement to purchase gasoline, but they have a beautiful facility over there, so we might be able to do some other things with, as far as some maintenance on the vehicles as well. If it works out that we can get it cheaper through them, then we're gonna do that as well, or at least explore getting another intermunicipal agreement with them. One of the things over the past year that I heard from citizens was that sometimes employees of the village or of the town would be in their yards and things, and they didn't know who they were because they didn't have any types of identification. So we're in the process of getting identification badges for every employee for the town, as well as when they go out and they're out in the field, they're going to be wearing some vests that will make them identifiable. And if they're going to be in an area for any length of time, we'll try and get out letters as well, but sometimes we don't have time to do that. When we do, we'll try to do that as well. And also the codes officers are going to purchase, we have badges for them with identification, and they're going to have coats with the drop downs on it, so they'll be clearly marked. So if somebody comes to your door and you don't know who they are and they say they were the codes, they should be able to produce a badge and an identification as well if they have markings on their coats. That's all I have. Town board comments. We'll start with Mr. Kudaraskis this time.
I just want to thank everyone for coming, people watching on PAC-B, appreciate it. You know, those who are watching on TV, I'd like to see your faces once in a while, so please, you know, come here. We don't bite, so other than that, I have no other comments.
I too would like to thank everybody for coming and for watching, and looks like we're going to get a little weather tonight. Be safe out there over the next few days and for the rest of the season.
I just wanted to thank Cindy for bringing up the question about the SPCA. I have been a supporter of that transition from the town doing dog control with one of its own employees to moving over to the SPCA, and I'm still a supporter of it. But what I don't know is how effective it is. So I guess, Bob, I would encourage you when you talk to them to find out, you know, because I remember years and years ago, when a dog was lost, we had a gentleman that went out and found that dog and that kind of thing. And so I don't know if the SPCA is as reactive as we once were. I hope we are, and I still support the SPCA, so maybe you can just check on that.
Yeah, that's a good point, and I will. I'll follow up with, you know, how responsive are you to people, and if anybody has any problems with them, we want to know.
Yeah.
You know, call the office and let us know, and we'll follow up on it.
That's it.
Thank you for coming, and we'll stick to the agenda.
Okay. Department head reports, Mr. Lysander. Mr. Birkinshaw.
I'd like to thank Cindy and PAC-B. On Tuesday, I had the opportunity to sit down in front of PAC-B and do a live interview talking about our father-daughter dance on February 22nd. Also about the GEMS program. Registration is now going on for both GEMS program. Also too, it gave us another network of getting out there and getting all our information out to the public. And then just to let you guys know a little bit about what you're voting on tonight. The Civil Rec Plus, that is our online registration software that is basically allows us to take registrations online anywhere. It's cloud-based. Also too, it acts as a cash register. One of the things that they wanted to do was they wanted to up our annual fee for the service. It basically doubled, and I was able to call them, negotiate with them, tell them what a small department we were, and get them down to a reasonable price, dropping about $700 off the price of what they were first asking us to purchase. And in order to keep that price where they quoted me at for a small department, we have to sign a contract saying that we're going to keep them and use them as services. We did shop around. We did look at other places. Some places weren't compatible with our credit card company that we do credit cards with, and another company that we had that was compatible to our credit card company was basically only like $20 cheaper, so it wasn't any savings there. So instead of changing the whole cart for $20, we're going to stick with the same program, same software. I know it's not the best software out there. I know I've talked with our comptroller about possibly looking at a more friendly software to deal with the banking side of things, but as far as the registration part of things, that's what is what we use as a Civil Rec 1. So that's a little information on what you guys are voting on tonight.
I have a question for you while you haven't brought it up, Tony. This price that we're quoted here, it's more than last year? It says it's an annual renewal, so is it more than last year?
It is more than last year.
But not up twice as much. So
It is twice as much. Basically what they quoted us at last year was about $100 a month is what we were paying for services.
Alright.
Then they basically doubled it to like $3,700. When I called them when we were doing the budget for 2020, I said, this is ridiculous, you know, you basically almost tripled it of what it was, and going back and forth over a period of time, they were able to give me a $3,000 price, dropping $700 off of the original price they were asking. And in order to keep the $3,000 price, we have to sign a contract with them saying that we're going to do that.
But this
So this
says 37.
right, that's why I'm asking.
Right, but in the contract that the supervisor is going to sign, it's for, the contract is for $3,000.
Oh, okay.
So that's to show you what the price was, what they were asking, and in the contract it says the price will be $3,000. So it's in the contract price.
Yeah, it's on the second page.
Tony, is there any additional services or anything that they're doing different this year that they need to justify their significant?
No. And then, like I said, shopping around, going to rec desk, rec software, other rec programs out there, they're not really that much savings out there. And the one company that I found that had a good price was not compatible with the Municipay credit card company that we use.
You might note too that this company isn't the company that we originally started with. It was
Right.
called Rec One.
Rec 1, and Rec 1 got bought out by State
This
of
company
Rec.
got bought. Yeah, this company bought Rec One.
So that's another reason probably for the increase of fees.
Thank you.
So we did our shopping around, we did look into it. The 37 that you have in there was the price that was in the budget. I was able to negotiate and get them down $700. So that's all I have for department.
So you may want to, in motion number D, you might not want to say sign the civic place. plus invoice, I would scratch out invoice and say to sign the Civic Plus annual
Contract.
renewal.
Annual renewal, okay.
Just so there's no.
I will plug one more time, the father-daughter dance tickets are available February 22nd.
Great.
So, I don't know if I made those clear. Tickets are still available. We're up to about 70 people registered. That's about 35 daughters, 35 significant other are others that are accompanying them. So, numbers are slowly going up, so that's good too. And we are partnering with the Baldwinsville softball team during the recess break. They are looking to host and run a camp, and registrations will come through us. So if there's girls out there that are looking to get ready for softball, the softball team is running a camp during recess break, and they can register with us online or stop down to the recreation department and get registered. So that's it. Thank you.
Mr. Rowley?
Just a report to the board. Myself and Mr. Supervisor Wicks met today with our insurance broker to go through our 2020 renewal, which is up this month. He went through it page by page with us, which he normally does, and explained it and answered any questions that we had. I will say that we budgeted a 5% increase. However, it's gone up 10%. So we'll be a few $1,000s short on our budget line. We'll have to do a budget transfer to cover it. So it's just north of $50,000 for our package policy.
And the reason he explained that is because it's, correct me if I'm wrong, I think he was talking about liability in general.
Yeah. And a lot of the natural disasters that have been
Natural
going on
disasters,
across.
liability in general,
Yeah.
that's the reason for the increase.
I got a question for you, Dave, and I can't remember if I asked it last time, so forgive me if we did. The thing that we left out of the 2020 budget, the safety officer, did we ever fix that?
No, not yet.
What do we need to do on that?
We'll have to do a budget transfer at the time. If me and Supervisor Wicks have had some conversation and we're debating about whether or not we're going to go ahead with that. Mr. Wicks is going to look into a couple other
We have been talking about it to look at, we're looking at the fee that we were going to be charged, and I know that BOCES in particular has experts with that type of, that may be able to provide that type of service. So
You're looking into it.
yeah, we're going to look at, Mr. Rowley and I are going to look at a couple of places to see if we can come up with a better price from somebody where we could also get involved in some shared services, which would help us, the state as well. So we're working on that. We were doing it today. So,
Okay, I'm done. Thank you.
Ms. Livingston,
Nothing.
it's an inside joke.
Inside joke. Nothing, thank you.
Okay, all right, we'll move on to the regular agenda items. May I have a motion to authorize the supervisor to sign the 2020 fire protection agreement by and between the town of Lysander and Enterprise Fire Company Number 1, West Phoenix Fire Protection Agreement?
I'll move it.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
I'd like to just make one comment, just so everybody's aware. The contract amount is 2% higher than last year. Just to make you aware of
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Motion carried. May I get a motion to approve the Town of Lysander National Grid street light buyout and LED conversion bond resolution in the amount of $1,854,218 as prepared by the town attorney. This motion that was passed on November 20th, 2019, as is being remitted due to a publishing error. So that's what it's about. There was a publishing error, so we have to resubmit it. This was already passed last year, but we have to do it over again because of the publishing error. Any further discussion?
What was the publishing error?
Sorry.
Sorry, what was the publishing
Yeah, we
error?
need to make a motion, I guess.
Yeah.
you know,
I can tell you what the publishing error was. There's an estoppel certificate that needs to be filed 30 days after the motion was passed. Dina inadvertently published it at the same time as the other documents.
Okay.
So she didn't wait the 30 days. So just to be technically correct, we have to wait the 30 days, so that's all it is.
So
Everything
this-
else is the same.
This starts the clock again.
Right.
So 30 days from now,
Right.
right?
And then she has to publish it 30 days from now.
is it, just to be clear, is it 30 calendar days or 30?
30 days.
Just 30 days, okay. Great, so we have a motion by Mr. Moore.
Yeah.
I have a second.
I'll second it.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Motion carried. May I have a motion to authorize the supervisor to sign the 2020 SPCA cruelty contract?
I'll move it.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Motion carried. May I have a motion to authorize the supervisor to sign the Civic Plus annual renewal of software for the Parks and Recreation Department?
Move that.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Motion carried. Okay. So that was quick. That's all we have for the agenda items. Any new business from the board?
At the next work session, I'd love to discuss the town possibly putting money aside in the next budget to try to help the village with any lighting options for the bridge. I know that the village has looked into it in the past. I'd love to have a conversation with the town board to see if the board would be interested in trying to partner with the village and maybe help try to bring some lights back to the village. I know it was a nice aesthetic that a lot of village residents enjoyed, and I think the whole town benefits from it.
Okay, we can put that on for next meeting. Anyone else? Any new business?
No.
Okay, I don't think anybody see any need for an executive session? No? Hearing none. May I have a motion to adjourn at 7:22?
I'll move it.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.